African nation falls to an anti-French colonialism coup, all as the continent of Africa continues to turn away from the woke West at a breathtaking pace. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, and we truly are witnessing the world restructuring away from the post-World War II liberal world order and embracing instead a far more nationalist, populist, and traditionalist political order. The latest now is the nation of Gabon, a former French colony located on the western coast of Central Africa. They're now officially the latest African nation to be taken over by a military coup that seeks to restore their national sovereignty and kick out any remaining French influence from their nation. The Gabon army has overthrown their president Ali Bongo, whose family has ruled Gabon, if you could believe it, for over 50 years. Last Saturday's presidential election was highly contested, with the opposition alleging fraud, and the army obviously agreed, and they have officially annulled those results. The president is now purportedly under house arrest. Now, what's so fascinating is that this Gabon coup is playing out almost exactly like the previous coup in Niger just a few weeks back. The people are greeting the army with open arms, appearing to fully support the military junta. And this is largely because of a massive populist movement sweeping the continent known as Pan-Africanism, where more and more African leaders are calling for the expulsion of European political and cultural influences left behind from their colonial period, and instead are seeking to cultivate a uniquely African civilizational world. It's thus no coincidence when one of the first reported acts of the new junta was to ban French President Emmanuel Macron from entering the nation of Gabon. In the meantime, over in Niger, the military government there has ordered the expulsion of the French ambassador, who has thus far refused to leave. In fact, the Macron government itself has ordered their ambassador to remain in Niger. In response, Nigerian officials have actually reportedly cut off water and power from the embassy, with no food or deliveries allowed anywhere near its vicinity. So they're effectively besieging the embassy, and they're going to starve out this ambassador one way or another. All of this as the organization known as ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States, under French pressure, is considering military intervention in order to restore Niger's pre-coup government. At the same time, nations of Mali and Burkina Faso, also ruled by juntas, have expressed their unwavering solidarity with Niger. They've sent over both officials and military to the country and are openly declaring that an attack on Niger is an attack on them all. So what's really happening here? I mean, what are we really seeing unfold right before our very eyes in all these very popular military coups all across the Sahel region in Africa? And what does it all have to do with the rise of a new conservative age? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. But first, many of you have been kind enough to notice that I've lost a couple of pounds of late. It's true, I've lost over 60 pounds. I've tried everything under the sun to lose weight, and nothing worked until I discovered the amazing nutrition coaching of PhD Weight Loss. PhD Weight Loss is a 100% over-the-phone nutrition and behavior coaching program that I simply could not possibly recommend enough. I was able to eat delicious meals all while reaching my weight loss goals in record time. And gang, it was one of the easiest things I've ever done. They completely take out all the guesswork behind what, when, and how much to eat. They make the process painless, simple, and as easy as possible. Dr. Ashley Lucas has helped thousands achieve their health goals over the last 15 years. And the best part about PhD is that once you hit that goal weight, your maintenance support is free. So when you need a little help readjusting, if you start to gain any of those pesky pounds back, they're there to they've got your back. They're amazing. Make sure to click on that link below and join myself as well as thousands of other patriots who are taking back control of our health. We know the demons at Davos want us docile and unhealthy so as to remain complacent against their agenda, but your health goals are very much in reach. Speak to the very people who helped me become my healthiest self by clicking on that link below right now. What more and more pundits are recognizing is that we're seeing the collapse of what's known as Fronterfreak happening right before our very eyes. Now, it's a funny term, but Fronterfreak, simply put, is a system of political and economic engagement that France has instituted with its former African colonies. And it's a relationship where African nations have remained, well, highly dependent on France. So, for example, the CFA franc, which is the national currency for many of these African nations, ironically is still printed in France. They're actually dependent on a European nation for their own currency. And yet this continued dependency is happening even as African nations are becoming increasingly independent from their former European colonizers. So, for example, it may surprise you that the largest French-speaking nation in the world is not France. It's actually the Republic of Congo, whose population of 80 million far surpasses the population of France. And so increasingly, the policy of Fronterfreak has been seen as highly exploitive, where imperialist monetary policies are seen as crippling domestic African economies. And so now, as populist Pan-African sentiments spread, more and more African populations see their current governments really as nothing more than just puppets of these exploitive Fronterfreak policies. And they, through their militaries, are rising up and toppling these puppet governments as what they consider to be a genuinely African expression of democratic action. They feel increasingly like their political systems are incurably corrupt and paralyzed, and they need true representatives of the people to bring about lasting reform, and that's why they're increasingly turning to their respective militaries. All of these coups, as far as tens of millions of Africans are concerned, they are ultimately about awakening authentic African civilization, which can only happen once they finally free themselves from what remains of Western colonization. For right or for wrong, this is what we're witnessing. The woke West is being rejected. A new civilizationalist Africa is rising. Hey gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.